Hi everyone, it's Ray with the education team from Swirlydoos Kit Club, and I've been having so much fun with our September kit. It's the one from 2013, in case somebody's watching those years down the road. We'll see about that. Anyway, one of the things that we got in the kit was in the embellishment add-on, we got a bunch of papers. I think there was 9 in the set. It was from Splash of Color, and it's basically for decoupage, or you can do whatever you want, but that was one of the suggestions on the box or on the package. So I thought I would maybe try that out. I haven't done a lot of decoupage, so I thought it would be fun to do this wine bottle. So what I did for the most part on here is I have been just tearing up papers from the Splash of Color pack, and I've been using Paper Soft to color the edges and distress them, and also using a paper distressor, and I've just been putting that on with the Martha Stewart decoupage, and I bought the antique finish because I wanted it to look somewhat old. So I've just been messing around. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, so you can see that some of this stuff is like really linear, like I didn't do a lot of distressing on some of these edges, which is okay because I wanted to cover it up. I just wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I didn't want to do a practice one. I just wanted to do some layers, and of course that will just look nice in the background. Like you can see, this is what it looked like before, and then I ripped up one of those map pages, and it was kind of like this except for it was dark. And so I ripped it up, I distressed it, and then I tried to put it back together on there. So I'm kind of happy with how it looks. I wanted to do it again with this map paper and just somewhat overlap it a little bit, and then I thought I would decorate it. So I'm going to show you what I've done, how I've done this bottle so far. So just take one of the papers and just rip it randomly. And the edges that aren't ripped, of course, I'm just going to take the paper distressor and make it look old and tattered. And then I'm going to use the Paper Soft on those edges. So that's my first step. Okay, so I've distressed my papers, and now I'm going to move on to the actual decoupage, as Martha Stewart likes to call it. And I'm just going to dip my brush into the bottle, and I'm not going to put a lot on there, but I'm not going to put a small amount either. I don't want it dripping off of the brush. That's a pretty good amount right there. And what you have to do for decoupage is you have to apply the paper to the wet surface. The paper has to be wet with this stuff, and also whatever your surface is also has to be wet. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to put those pieces of paper just yet, but I want to have this ready. So I'm just going to do most of this side of the bottle right now. And that way it's ready. So next I will take the paper and I'll just put, again, you need to have a healthy coat. You do not want to put a minimal amount on here. You don't want to drench it, but you definitely don't want to soak it up, and you don't want to put a small amount on there. So I want those two maps to overlap. So I'm just going to put it like that. I don't really have a plan except for I want them to overlap a little bit. And the thing is that once you set this wet piece of paper down onto the other wet paper, you kind of have to go with it. So even if that's not where I wanted it to go, there's not a lot of room for second chances here. So I actually like the way that it looks when it crumples like that to fit around the bottle. So I'm just going to go with that. And then I want the map to somewhat match up, so I'm just going to keep doing that. I want to put a little bit of space in between them, so I'll do that. Put a little more on here. Oops, it's kind of a lot. There we go, smooth that out. And move on to the paper. I'm just going to keep doing that for all of these other pieces. Okay, so my paper is on my bottle, and that's the first layer of what's going to be going on with this. What's going to happen now is I'm going to need to let this sit to dry, and then I'm going to treat it in a couple of different ways. So this needs to sit. So for my next part, what I want to do is I want to kind of soften this up a little bit, maybe make it look a little bit more distressed. So I thought I would go ahead and use some mists. And I'm just using mists that I think we've got a couple of these in past kits, and some of them are just from my stash. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use about 2 different colors of brown. I'm going to use Coffee Shop and Tattered Leather from Tattered Angels. And I also want to give it a little tiny bit of a spritz of Radiant Rain and Teal Zircon. And I'm going to use this Art Anthology spray in Fernleaf. And I'm just going to try and soften this up a little bit in a darker way. So I think I'm going to start with my lighter brown. And I'm not going to go overboard here. I'm just going to randomly do it. I'm not trying to soak anything. And also, it's not going to take on all of the parts because I've used this decoupage surface, or what is it called? I keep getting this. Okay, it's multi-surface durable antique finish decoupage. I'm just going to call it decoupage stuff finish, I guess. And so it's not going to be able to get onto all of the pieces or on all of the papers because it's going to look different, because some of this already has some of that decoupage finish on there and some of it doesn't on the outside. So it's going to look different. Like you can already see it took to this part right here, but it kind of didn't take on this outside part. And so it's just going to look a little bit different. So I'm just going to go with it. Embrace whatever happens. And I think that's all I'm going to do, so now I'm going to have to set that aside and let it dry too. So after I applied the mist, I decided to go ahead and put some paint on here, and I took this eyedropper that we got from a kit this summer with the gelatos, and I used some of the gold paint from the kit, and I wanted to make it look kind of like how wax looks when you put a candle on the top. I thought that would be kind of fun. And so because I put some of the blue mist on here and it had some blue papers, I thought I would do that again with some of the blue paint. And this is also from a past kit. This is the Silks again. It's Bolivian blue. And I'll just show you how I did this. I just take the dropper, fill it up, and I wanted to start it at the same point. And I'm just going to put a few blue drops on here. So now the paint is mostly dry and I'm going to adorn it. And I want to start with a piece of cheesecloth, and I've already been messing around with this a little bit, and I made a little hole in the middle. And we got these flowers in a kit a while back, and I've been waiting for a good opportunity to use them, and I think they would look really cool on this bottle. So I'm just going to add some simple flowers, or not so simple flowers as the case may be. These are really pretty and ornate. So that's what the top part looks like. And I also want to add a decorative bottom, and I got this metal trim at Hobby Lobby. I think it will look really cool around here, but it's not really the color that I want because you can see I'm using the golds from those flowers, and I have that gold paint on there. So I wanted to change the color of this. And I thought, because it already has so much texture, I don't want to use a lot of the other techniques that I use in order to get like some sort of a metalish patina finish. So I'm just going to bust out my trusty old alcohol inks, and I'm going to use Stream and the copper mixatives. So I'm just going to keep coating this metal trim until I get the look that I want. And it's already cut to the size of my bottle, and that is my decoupage bottle using the September papers from the embellishment kit. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Be sure to go to swirlydoos.com and check out our online forums. We have an awesome community, and we have tons of tutorials for you. Thanks for watching.